The age of Jacindamania is over. Ardern has taken its biggest knock, and when Labour's magic weapon loses its power, the party does too. Labour was the only party to lose support in our poll on 41.6%, smacked down by 9.2%. Most of that support went straight to National, up 6.5% to 43.9%, enough to overtake Labour. That's manna from heaven for the Nats and Simon Bridges, but not enough to rule, because the Greens are up 6.3, up a touch, keeping Labour in power. New Zealand First got a sprinkle of Labour's stardust on 4%, up 1.2, not enough to get over the 5% threshold into Parliament, but in a non-election year, this is a good result for Winston and Co. Look who else is on the rise. ACT, a special mention tonight on 1.4%, up 0.6, the first time it's polled over 1% in our poll since 2014. Top in the Māori Party nudged up slightly too. And here's how your Parliament would look. Labour can't do it alone. It gets 54 seats, but the Greens are its lifeline, 8 seats, returning Ardern to power with a slim 2-seat majority. National gets 56. It needs buddies, assuming Seymour wins Epsom. David, phone a friend. That poll bump means 2 seats for ACT, but together National and ACT don't have enough to govern. This poll is a seismic political shift. We have a real political competition on our hands. Grinning away, you couldn't wipe the smile off Simon Bridges' face at Diwali yesterday. And there's a reason he's looking so perky.
It's a special day. It's also a special day for me. It's my birthday.
Voters have delivered him a hell of a birthday treat, a poll that puts National back in the game.
It's a big drop for Labour, and the Prime Minister.
For a while there, the rise of Jacinda Ardern seemed unstoppable. She had political capital to burn, but then she started blazing it up, a cacophony of cock-ups and controversies. The Labour sexual assault investigation.
Obviously, it's my job to fix this.
Kiwi Build flopping and failing first home buyers.
We just didn't get everything right with Kiwi Build.
And the land dispute at Ihumātao.
This is Māori Whenua!
Is there anything that you would have handled differently?
Those are just markers of government and being in a position where we are leading, and that means that you will be navigating different issues.
And this shows just how tied Ardern's personal popularity is to the party. A massive drop of 10.6% to 38.4% as preferred Prime Minister, almost matching Labour's slide. Simon Bridges gets a 2.5% bump to 6.7%, but there's even better news for him. Judith Collins is losing her mojo, down 1.9 to 5.2.
Well, I think it's pleasing, but I've never read too much into those numbers.
Do you think the stardust is starting to wear off?
Never bought into that in the first place.
Bridges will be hoping some of that magic wears off. He's looking for love.
I got lots of friends.
But not really.
We'll definitely have options in 2020. Watch this space.
You're on the hunt for friends, right?
Watch this space.
David Seymour doubling ACT seats to 2 gives National cause for celebration. Desperate attention grabs, coupled with his hard work on euthanasia, have paid off.
Look, the National Party have been looking for friends, and I've said to them, we've been here all along.
New Zealand First traditionally does better on election day than non-election year polls, so Winston could still be kingmaker.
My view is that Winston Peters has been a net negative effect on New Zealand politics.
A blue-black-pink coalition seems near impossible.
Well, he should be resigning. Nothing short of that.
He's called for your resignation. How do you work with that guy?
Well, let's see next year. I'm feeling real good about things.
Friends with benefits have disadvantages too. Do you think that the Labour Party has been hurt by being in an MMP coalition?
No, I don't actually.
But would you prefer next election for Labour to govern alone?
Those are all choices for the voters.
And those choices just got a lot more interesting.
Well, Taiva, this is such a big shift from our last poll. Why is that?
Our last poll had Labour over 50%. That was a post-budget poll. Governments always get a bump from budgets. And the Prime Minister was also being universally praised for her response to the Christchurch terror attack. So going up the way her and Labour did was totally expected and actually akin to John Key's numbers when he was at the height of his popularity. But Things like the Labor sexual assault investigation and the Kiwi Build reset have really alienated Labor's base, and this poll shows just how much it's cost them. The Prime Minister's rationalising all this, saying the numbers are higher than the last election, and yes, on this poll she remains in power, but this will hurt. She is acutely aware of how linked her popularity is to Labor's. Likewise, keep things in perspective, although this is better for Simon Bridges, there is still a gulf between his popularity and Ardern's.
OK, Tovin, what about Winston Peters? What does he make of all this?
He didn't want to do an interview. He was saying things like all polls are rubbish, trash, that we were kidding ourselves. He then went on swiftly to talk up his internal polling and told me next year New Zealand First will be putting their numbers out there. But based on our numbers tonight, we are in for a rip snorter come decision 2020.